Hi, my name's Emma. I teach Enrichment as part of the programme at HNC. We're looking at dissection today, so I'm going to just give you a bit of an introduction into what an Enrichment Club activity would look like if you were to come to Dissection Club. I've picked something that's not too disgusting so that we can just get a flavour of what we're doing, and I've saved all the best bits for when you actually come and choose my enrichment. We're going to just look at the eye. Some of you will have seen this at school, so it's just to give you an idea of the kinds of skills that you would need from a level 3 perspective. We do dissection, so we're looking at things like manual dexterity. We're checking to see if we're able to follow instructions and we can work collaboratively together and also make decisions in the moment about what's safe practice. So they're the skills we're going to be looking at, and also it's just a bit of fun as well. So we've got an eye specimen that we're going to be cutting up, so I'm going to show you what we're going to look at now. We're going to look at the external anatomy of the eye. So you will have done this again at GCSE, particularly if you've done biology or physics. So we can see the kinds of structures you'll be identifying will be the sclera, which is the whites of the eye. Then we'll look at the cornea, which is the bit that covers the front of your eye. And that part is really tough, and we'll look at that in a moment. In there is the pupil, so you can see all the black region. You'll turn it over. What I'll get you to do in Dissection Club is trim all the fat away from around here, take away all the muscle that holds the eye in the orbit, and identify the optic nerve. So the optic nerve, for those of you that are trying to zoom in and have a little look now, you'll be able to see it for yourself on the day, but it's there. You will trim away all the fat and all the surroundings and squeeze this so that you make the myelin come out of that structure. And you'll know that myelin insulates nerve cells, as if you've done your GCSE biology correctly. Hopefully that's what you've written. So what we're going to look at is making our first incision. When you come to do this, we're going to look at safety skills. So one of the first things we're going to do is put on some safety glasses, just in case the liquid inside the eye makes a pressured escape. You're going to use your scalpel, and you're going to move the scalpel away from you. So you're going to try and make an incision where you're cutting away. But for visibility purposes, I'm going to cut towards myself so that you can see what I'm doing. You're going to look for the equator of the eye. You can see it. The front is quite soft and the back is more rigid. So we're going to make our first incision there. What's going to come out is vitreous humour. That's all right. It's supposed to be there. Otherwise, your eye would collapse. It looks black because clearly this is not a living specimen. We're going to cut all the way around to separate the front from the back so that we can have a little look at the structures we should expect to see inside. When you're doing this, you might see the lens come out onto the desk. So that's the bit that we're really interested in. These are frozen specimens, so frozen specimens mean that we're not going to be able to preserve the structures as well as we would like. However, this one looks like it's intact. So what you'll see when you come to do this, we'll separate this little marble looking structure here, which is the lens. We want the lens and the ciliary muscles that hold the lens in place. We'll be able to identify those, and then we'll pick out the lens and investigate its properties by using some text, that we can magnify the text using the lens, just to have a look at that for interest really more than anything. When we come back to the eye itself, sometimes it's easier, finish off that with your scissors. So I'm going to pick it up and be a bit brutal so we can separate the two. Okay, so we're looking at the back of the eye. So when we look at the back of the eye, what we've got is the retina. So all this black tissue that you can see at the back is the retina. What's important is this bit is quite shiny. It looks a bit like an oil spill. That's called the tapetum, but we don't have one of those. The tapetum sits at the back of the eye in front of the retina, and it gives an animal a second look at the light. So that's why cat's eyes reflect in the dark, because they have a layer called the tapetum. So you'll pick out that layer. At the minute, it doesn't look that exciting on TV, but when you actually do it in real life, it's quite interesting to see that and separate that out. At the front of the eye, what you've got, this bit here, that is the ring of muscle, it doesn't look very attractive, but that ring of muscle that I'm moving with this seeker here is the iris. And the iris, you'll have learned, controls the size of the pupil. So we'll dissect that, we'll separate that out onto the bench, and then we'll investigate the properties of the cornea. One of the things you'll do is take your scalpel, and if you press the scalpel blade to the cornea, it's very crunchy. And that's just to illustrate the fact that the front of your eye is really, really tough to stop any damage to the internal structures of the eye. When you come to Dissection Club at HNC, we'll do a range of specimens from plants all the way up to the big specimens, which I'm not going to reveal now because you'll have to come and join my enrichment club. So hopefully I'll see you there.